Welcome in. I am the Crypto Bull God, and this is all in the charts. If you appreciate the content, make sure to hit that thumbs up button, drop me a comment, and click the bell icon for all notifications to know when I go live each and every single weekday. Guys, just as a heads up, I will be on a X Spaces later today at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, so if you wish to join, I did retweet that out. Feel free. I hope everyone's having a good day today. My day flew by. Wednesdays are always a love-hate day for me just because it's a leg day. So I was pissy when I entered the gym this morning. But when I was done with squats, I was feeling a lot better. So I'm not sure what day of the week, if you guys weight train, what day you do legs. But I work legs twice a week. I mean, I do it on Wednesdays and Saturdays, technically. But Wednesday is my squat day. Saturday is my deadlift day. So, I was putting some thought into how I wanted to structure today's stream, and I think this is what we're going to do. So, yesterday, because just as a friendly reminder, I do this from time to time to everyone who's new to the channel, we do something incredibly mind-blowing on this channel. We objectively view the data, okay? We objectively evaluate the data, and then I just interpret what the data is telling me, right? We don't believe in rainbows and unicorns and fairies on this channel. We actually live in what I call the world of reality. So, meaning to say yesterday, it's okay, it's healthy, it's normal, it's actually really good to be bullish on the crypto industry and perhaps the overall market, but to have an honest, objective conversation about bearish signals. So yesterday, I spelled out to you the bearish views that I'm currently evaluating and what I want to see clear up on those charts. Today, what we're going to do is we're going to look at some bullish views, okay? So we're going to focus today's attention on the opposite of yesterday. We're going to kind of balance things out here. We looked at bearish things yesterday. We're going to look at bullish things today. Todd, I see you, my friend. Super chats are never expected, but always appreciated, kind sir. So that's what we're going to do today, and we're going to jump right into Bitcoin here. We're having a mixed day on the market here. Looks like most of the market is up. Quite honestly, I have not been paying much attention to the market today. I've been way too busy. I am in the heat of some pricing changes within the individual life space. So working on that. So I really haven't had a chance to look at much of this. But yeah, most of the market looks to be green. Looks looking good. Let's look at AI. Looking good. All right, so what I want to do is I want to focus on a few views that are bullish, and I will explain to you why they are bullish and why you need to stay level-headed amidst all of the emotional state of the market, okay? This is par for the course, been here for a while. This market is very irrational, both to the upside and downside. Right now, people are way too pessimistic, in my opinion. But let's evaluate the bullish price action. So we're just consolidating here, right? There isn't really much to kind of hit on here, besides the fact that as it stands right now, we still have a low, a high, and a higher low. And again, we want to come up and start invalidating some of these higher targets here, these lower high targets. But let's evaluate the things that I am evaluating from a bullish perspective in terms of the overall view in the market. So the first thing I want to look at, it's actually highlighted here pretty well. I didn't anticipate looking at this chart, but this is a great chart to look at. The first thing I'd like to look at here, we'll get to the orangish, yellowish rectangles in a moment here. But the thing that I want you to focus on right now, a couple things. First off, we can't lose perspective that we still have these major higher lows coming in. Despite the fact that there is a lot of volatility, which is very normal for this market, when you zoom out and you evaluate things on a higher time frame view, this is a weekly view. We could look at the 2-week and it would tell us the same thing. We could look at a monthly and it would tell us the same thing. We have higher highs and higher lows coming into the market, okay? We have this high here, right? Then we have this high here. So all we're doing right now is ping-ponging. That's all we're doing. We haven't seen this devastating drop in prices that have come all the way back here and broken this level. Okay? We're still forming higher highs and higher lows. We could still go significantly lower from current prices and we would still be bullish. Do I think we're going to go significantly lower? No. But we could go significantly lower and we would still be bullish. The next thing that I want to take a look at with you that leaves me feeling bullish on this view, if we focus on the pattern that is present here. Now again, one of the things that I share with you guys, appreciate the thumbs up for everyone new tuning in. One of the things that I try to share with you when we're evaluating charts is when I see a pattern that is present within the chart. And what you have to understand is what I'm sharing with you is are probabilistic views, right? Everything in charting is based on a probability. There's no certainties. But when you have a formation, a pattern show up in a chart, especially when it's on a higher time frame, there's a much higher probability of that pattern playing out in the most likely direction than not. Now, in this case, the pattern that I'm pointing out to you is a bull pennant. Guys, you can't debate with me. You can't, if you were to attempt to debate with me if a bull pennant is present on the weekly chart, you would literally be acknowledging that you don't understand basic technical analysis. This isn't what I hope to play out in the chart. This isn't my, this isn't my hope or desire of what's going to play out in the chart. I'm literally just showing you. All I'm doing is showing you a pattern that is present on the chart. This pattern has a higher probability of breaking to the upside. Now, the way that you technically measure this, okay, and depending how this plays out, there's a couple different ways you can draw the pennant, okay? We could actually, if we wanted to, we could draw it like this, right? I'm just to illustrate the point here. And we'll probably draw it like this, so we're a little more conservative with how we're evaluating. You could actually, if you wanted to, you could draw it like this, okay? And I'm actually going to draw it like that because it's going to give us a little bit more of a conservative target, okay? But the way that you draw this, guys, do you not appreciate me as a content creator? Why are there so many people tuning in who just can't hit the thumbs up button? You do realize this is what helps me as a content creator. So please just hit the fucking thumbs up button. Huh? So the way that you properly draw this, you take the pole and you place it at the point of breakout, right? You don't place it down here. That is not the proper way to, thank you. I did see the thumbs up go up. Thank you. I'll stop repeating myself because I hate repeating myself. You don't draw it down here. You draw it at the point of breakout. So the technical target will vary based upon where the breakout does occur. But if we theoretically started to break out in the middle of October, the technical target, as much as I find it unlikely that price will go this high, the technical target in this case takes us up to that 190 range. Now, I find it hard to believe that we're going to get that high in price. We've talked about price targets before. I have my doubts that we'll get up to 190, but that's at least the technical target, okay? So bullish indicator number 2 within the charts is that we have a pole and a pennant present. The other thing that I'd like to I'd like to point out on this chart, okay, is the volume profile. Now, typically, something that we have talked about on this channel is typically one of the sayings that you use in technical analysis is that volume precedes price, okay? So the volume profile of a chart can tell you a lot regarding the price action that's going on. You can actually see this. I keep going back to this video because I think it's critical that you watch it. You can actually see this in this topping signals indicator video. One of the key things that I evaluate in that video are views which indicate impulsive tops. Well, how am I evaluating an impulsive top versus a corrective formation? The volume profile can be a dead giveaway. So one of the things that I want you to check out here on the weekly, let me see if it's better highlighted on the 2 weekly or we'll stay on the weekly. We'll go to the 2 week. You can see, look at the volume tick up here. The volume ticked up as we entered the top. And look what has happened during this phase, right? The volume has declined, okay? This implies this is more consolidatory. Did I just create that word? It indicates it's more likely this is consolidation over distribution, okay? If we go to here, and this is another reason, if we just go back to 2022, okay? Sorry to bring back some PTSD for people who, believe me, a lot of the debacle that unfolded in 2022 still feels like yesterday for me, believe me. What do you notice about the volume profile? Well, first off, if we assess the volume profile beyond the beer virus lows there, look what happened. The volume profile ticked up as we started to enter here, right? Look at the volume profile. Look at the volume profile, right? We saw this big spike in volume here, indicating a potential local bottom. And then look at the volume profile here. Notice on this volume profile here, even though we hit $69,000 and that was our all-time high at that point, notice how the volume did not support the price action. There were also negative divergences on the RSI. But the volume profile didn't fit the price movement. And then you can see the volume started to pick up here on the downside sell pressure, okay? So dead giveaways that we weren't seeing something impulsive and something more corrective in nature. Here what we're seeing is literally the volume trailing off and also price consolidating, and this is going to hit on the fourth point, prices consolidating within a tight range. Let's actually take a look at just how much of a decline in price that we've seen within Bitcoin. Now, again, the reason that we're spending so much time evaluating Bitcoin is because Bitcoin is the driver of value, okay? Bitcoin, because it comprises so much of the cryptocurrency market cap, and based on other things that we can ascertain from price movements on Bitcoin relative to altcoins, it's very important that we understand the relative health of Bitcoin. That will inform us the relative health of the market as well as altcoins as well, which we'll get into. We will get into something bullish on altcoins, believe it or not. So now the question we wanted to answer is how much of a price decline did we see? Okay. All the way to this capitulatory wick here, okay, and we can see the spike up in volume profile here. We saw roughly a 34% correction, just shy of 35%. Okay. This correction here, how much of a correction did we see? Okay, this was more shallow. This was only 22%. Let's take a look at this correction here. What did we see? Now, this was a corrective. As you can see, we corrected 77%. The other thing, though, I would point out to you, though, is notice how trying to think best how to state this here. Notice that since March until now, so what is that, 6 months? Roughly for 6 months, okay? For 6 months, we have been in a really tight range, okay? 34% correction, tight range, okay? There hasn't been any swift breakdowns in price structure. Here, what happened? When we entered a true corrective phase here, the corrective wave within this Elliott wave structure, well, first off, we plummeted, we fell over 50%, okay? So notice that it didn't take long. This is on a 2-week chart. This took us from November to January. In 2 months, we fell more than 50%. We then proceeded to consolidate from January until March. So for 3 months, so far we're only looking at 5 months. We consolidated and then we fell. And then we proceeded to fall another 68%, okay? The time frame that we spent here is less than the time frame we have spent here. This is expressing to us a greater degree of strength. Not only is the volume profile telling us something, not only do we have a bull pennant, but the fact, despite the volatility in the altcoins, because your altcoins are going to be a lot more volatile than Bitcoin, we have been consolidating in a relatively tight range for 6 months. Again, I feel very convicted that when we look back on this in hindsight, it's going to be obvious that this was a huge buying opportunity anywhere in this range for Bitcoin or alts, and we are going significantly higher in 2025. But allow us to continue evaluating the data to further make my point on this consolidation. If we go back even further in price, okay, here, if we remove, once again, the volatility associated with the beer virus, if we remove these 2 weeks here, because that truly was a black swan event, these 2 candlesticks, I should say, still, we saw a 58% correction, a pretty sharp correction, okay? But we spent time, for the most part, one of the things I was attempting to illustrate here, we spent from June 19 all the way until September 20. I mean, we spent a year and 3 months consolidating essentially within this range, okay? Here, again, this is another major corrective structure. Look how far we fell, 70%. But also notice how swift it was. There was no consolidation going on here. There was nothing here that was consolatory in manner at this point. We just swiftly fell in a month and a half or 2 months. We fell 70%. And then we consolidated in a bearish formation, talking about patterns. We started consolidating in a descending triangle, and then we plummeted further, okay? If we look, and this will be the last one we look at, if we look at the 2016 and 2017 bull run, I believe this is a halving date here. You can see here, and again, Bitcoin was more immature. Market cap was lower, volatility goes up, right? But still, from top to bottom, this was only 40%. If we take out the volatility wick, we had like a 30% correction. But we spent time consolidating essentially here until we broke this area here all the way back here. We spent from June 16 all the way until December 16. So we spent 6 months, 6 to 7 months consolidating before we started to break out higher, right? Consolidations, break up. Consolidations, break up. So again, some of these, what I'm attempting to illustrate to you here, bullish point number 4 is, there's a big difference between spending time in a consolidation phase versus having some swift momentum to the downside in a true corrective phase. Right now, unless we start to break market structure, now if we break down, okay, if something unexpected does happen, which we always have to be open to, and price starts falling down to, 38.5 or something like that, believe it or not, that still wouldn't invalidate anything from an Elliott wave structure. But what that would mean, at the very least, is that we would spend some significant time down here before we started to move up. And we'd have to reassess the charts at that point too. But being that we've spent time within this 35% consolidatory phase, again, there isn't anything here that is signaling to me that this is a massive correction or where a massive correction is going to ensue. One of the things that I've attempted to illustrate or to share with you guys, again, for someone who will never claim to be an expert, but who has been here for a while, one of the things that you pick up very quickly within this market are the people who are at one. Oh, Juan, I just saw you in the comments. Welcome in, my friend. The people that you pick up on are the people who are at extreme ends of the spectrum, right? So when we're in mass euphoria, you're going to, because we haven't hit that yet. When we're in mass euphoria, XRP is flipping Bitcoin, okay? When we're in mass euphoria, just to troll the ICP community a little more, ICP's going to top 10. Yeah, I'm sure it will. But you'll get these outlandish, unrealistic calls on prices. Just like during these consolidatory phases, there are people like Peter Schiff who will take victory laps calling for the end of the world. Now, keep in mind, again, I'm going to state this again. People were calling for the end of the world here, and now they're calling for the end of the world again. Eventually, they'll be correct. The question is, how much upside did you miss out on if you really listened to these people, right? So you can't base your views based on the emotions of the market. If I completely, for the moment, didn't even pay attention, let's pretend I wasn't on social media and I didn't pay attention to news outlets at all. I'm a hermit. I'm living my dad's dream. Okay, I'm living in a cabin in the woods. Him and I could not be more dislike in that way. I want a condo on the beach. I don't want to live by myself in the woods. Sounds fucking depressing, personally. But let's say I lived by myself in the woods, secluded from everyone, no human contact, and I was just evaluating the charts. Well, again, I'm seeing a lot of bullish signs here, okay, that we've been talking about. Something else that's bullish, and where altcoins are right around the corner. I'm going to get into altcoins. Something else that is bullish, is it this one? Why is 1 inch on here? What the fuck? Who the fuck is this Autobot? Is it Bitstamp? Okay. Wasn't looking at 1 inch recently. Don't know why the hell that was on there. Okay. The Gaussian channel is something we have spent a considerable amount of time talking about. And the reason, and again, I have the bull pennant drawn here. You can draw it a couple different ways. Looks like I have it drawn the same way, though. The reason this is bullish is because since we have flipped from red to green, which occurred just a year ago, it wasn't that long ago. I mean, it was basically a year ago. So the reason that I'm bullish on this view is that while price is close to the top of the Gaussian channel, we're sitting at 58, and the top of the channel is at 52. We're not in the Gaussian channel. When would I turn bearish on this? Candle body close. Let me repeat this. Candle body close. If you wake up tomorrow or next week and you see price at 52, the world's not ending. We could have a wick go in here. Wouldn't want to see it happen. We could go a wick in there to scare us a little bit. But as long as we close above the Gaussian channel, we're fine. When would this turn from bullish into bearish? We close anywhere in here. Well, this is bullish because we're well above there. Let me give you another reason that I am bullish. This is the multi-day view that we've spent some time looking at before in times past. It's the 125 simple moving average. And it's the 3-day chart. Whenever the moving average begins to curl up after we've had significant time under it and then gotten candle bodies back above it, as long as price is maintaining candle body closes at or above the 125 moving average, we're good. When would this turn bearish? We would have to close, not a wick. We'd have to close underneath this line at 51,000. So 51,000, 52,000 is certainly a key area for us. We could have guys, we could wick. Next week, we could wick all the way down here. We could go down to 47,000. But so long as we close above 51,000, right around 51, 52,000, we're fine. Right? So this leaves me feeling bullish because we're still well above the 125 simple moving average. Let me point to another view that is bullish. I guess I should also point this out. Another thing that leaves me feeling optimistic, I wouldn't even call it bullish, but I would say optimistic. We have spent a lot of time on this channel, and next we're going to get into altcoins. We have spent a lot of time on this channel talking about the historical significance of the 12-hour chart. And as much as I don't like to see the purple 50 simple cross below the 200 pink simple moving average, okay, we don't like to see that. What are you noticing about the shape of the moving averages in conjunction with where the candlesticks are at? Well, here's what I notice. What I've noticed is since this deviation, price has maintained a level in here. And what that has allowed us to do is maintain prices that are close to both of these moving averages. Now, what that has resulted in is both moving averages kind of going sideways, right? But they are not doing this. This is what we would not want. We don't want a sharp decline like this. This would not be good. Then I would not be hopeful or bullish on this chart. So even though you can't be bullish on this chart does leave me feeling optimistic at the moment because price has gravitated towards these moving averages and we're sort of just, there's some hairy price action going on. That's all, right? Now, let's get into altcoins because I'm sure if you're like me, you would love some positive news on something related to altcoins because many of you are in projects which have bled and bled and bled, okay? Let us go to Bitcoin dominance. And there is an observation, and I'm not sure if I have articulated things in this way, so I will make sure to do so. When I evaluate this chart, first off, it's bearish for all the reasons I've spelled out. The RSI, the MACD, the rising wedge. But the thing that I want to point out to you is we have never had a cycle top as Bitcoin dominance has been trending up like this. Forget about the rising wedge, that it's bearish and most likely will break down. We have never topped in the market when Bitcoin dominance has done this. This is a clear sign to me that we're still waiting for a huge run in altcoins because every single time, let's go to the past times this has happened. Bitcoin dominance is up here. Once it bleeds, we get a huge run in alts, and that's when we top. And is never gonna fuck you. This VP. I gotta tell you,